Hey y'all, it's Plowboy's Ghost Channel coming to you from Cicadia Central here on Cicadia Mountain in the state of Cicadiaville. Y'all, these some bitches have run us over, but anyway, that's what I'm here to talk about. I finally broke down and did what I threatened to do in a video not too long back. I have completely divested myself of 44 Magnum. I do not own a 44 Magnum firearm. I do not own any 44 Magnum rounds or brass or anything. And I'm trying to decide on the next step. Now, should I find myself in or, well, headed to Big Bear Country, I've got the Ruger Blackhawk 45 Colt, and I load heavy enough rounds that I wouldn't worry about their effectiveness on anything like a normal grizzly bear or whatever. Anything in North America for the most part. And if there's any doubt that my hand load's not up to the task, well, Garrett Cartridges makes 365 grain load and others that I'm sure are up to the task. So I'm not really necessarily looking for anything to replace the esteem that I hold for 45 Colt. What I'm thinking is one of those don't need it, just kind of want it big bores. For many years I have wanted something in either truly chambered in 475 line ball or 500 line ball, or now I've kind of got into the idea of 500 JRH, and I am seriously considered buying a BFR in one of those. Y'all will probably know, if you've looked them up and studied it at all, that the 475 line ball as a regular produced gun that Magnum Research puts out does not come in a 5 or 5.5 inch barrel. I don't want anything longer than 5.5. I want one just as long as the ejector rod housing. That's it. If I buy a 475 line ball that looks exactly like an off-the-shelf 475 480 line ball 480 Ruger BFR, the only difference being the length of the barrel, it's $500, $600, $700 difference, something like that, give or take, and 10-12 month wait period. I'm not doing that, waiting on the custom shop to put one on. I'm not going to do that. So I am, since I can get the 500 line ball version in the 5 or 5.5 inch barrel, or even more available is the 500 JRH version in 5 or 5.5. I can't remember which. It says 5.5, but the part number comes up to like a 5 inch, or the SKU number comes up to a 5 inch model number. So I'm kind of, I don't know for sure about that, but either one of those would be fine with me, 5 or 5.5 inch. I'm trying to decide which way to go. I really want the 475 because it'll also shoot 480 Ruger. I have a lot of respect for both of those. There's only 2,000 PSI difference between those two calibers, cartridges, and they will both shoot the same bullets. Or I can do the 500 JRH and take 500 Smith & Wesson ammo, or excuse me, 500 Smith & Wesson brass, and buy one of those jigs on eBay and cut it down to 1.4 or whatever, and go from there. It can be done, and I've come to find out there's a good 440 grain gas checked bullet for 500 Smith & Wesson, which will also work for 500 JRH. So there's a $30-something bullet mold. That's a plus. On the flip side, 500 line ball, which is 510 diameter, I will have to spend a little more on a bullet mold and dies, because I can use Lee dies. If I'm not mistaken, Lee dies with a 500 JRH using 500 Smith & Wesson dies, whatever I've got to do to work it all out. But I think the 500 line ball is going to cost me more. So I'm having a hard time figuring out which way to go. So this is kind of one of those, if you have an opinion on it, and not everybody pays attention to 475 line ball, 500 line ball, 500 JRH. If you have an opinion on it, what's your opinion on it? At this moment, I am standing here in 75, 80 miles away from my nearest Cabela's, which is in Huntsville, Alabama. And I'm trying to resist the slight temptation to ride over and buy a used 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum X-frame that is a 4-inch. Of course, I don't think that's a true 4-inch. I think it's got a ported chamber on the end of it, about a 3-inch. And everything I'm seeing, I know that thing will sling some heavy bullets, 500, 700, 600, 700 grain bullets. But I'm seeing that gun loses a lot of velocity, and it's a heavy gun. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 3 pounds 8 ounces empty. I can do better than that with a single action, and I believe that some of those line balls in that 500 JRH actually, although they can't shoot no 700 grain bullet, 500 line ball, I know can shoot at least a 525. That I'm seeing, in my mind, I'm seeing that the 500 Smith & Wesson and the 4-inch loses a whole lot of potential as far as velocity goes, you know what I'm saying. So anyway, what's y'all's thought on that? I mean, this is not a need. There's never anything that I will come across that heavy Ruger only 45 Colt plus P won't take care of. But this is more one of those want things. What do y'all think? 475 line ball, 500 JRH, 500 line ball, something else? 454 Casull, 460 Smith & Wesson, they out of the question. I don't care nothing about them. I love the 400, 440 grains and above range. That's what I'm looking for, a true big boy. I don't want another. I've got a hard hitting 45 in there in that Blackhawk. I've got a lot of faith in that. I don't want to spend a lot of money in another 45. What do y'all think? Give me your opinion if you don't mind. And I do appreciate y'all watching. Talk to y'all.